All right. Well, we want to welcome everybody to the new and improved version. We had some technical difficulties with the last one, but we are confident that we're going to get everything back on track. Vicki always finds a way to get it going, and she just gestured with a thumbs up, which I'm interpreting as we're good to go. This is really kind of an exciting time to get on and really process through some ideas about how to approach the new year that in all likelihood might be new. As you come up on the new year, there's the typical angst over all the things that you didn't get done over the previous year, and then there's the resolve that you're going to make a brand new year, and that really just translates into I'm going to do a lot more stuff and I'm going to be a lot busier. But we already were really busy this past year, and we're just trying to find a space. So this is really about aligning with the core things that matter most and then building out from there. We're going to get into some of those details in our time together tonight. But welcome.
Yeah. Yes, welcome everybody. We are very excited. You guys are getting the first glimpse of our new Get Inspired or Living an Inspired Life guide. This is our 2025 or 5785 edition. We're very excited. This is literally hot off the presses. So I think it just got cleared yesterday. So we are really good to go. We're super excited about that. And this tonight, really, we're just titling this Living Inspired, Aligning with God's Vision for 2025. And really, that's what we are all about. And we want to invite you to fully step into God's story for your life. And like Dan said, this isn't just about figuring out ways to get more done or to accomplish. We're all about, like setting goals and having vision, right? But our biggest goal is to align with God's story for our lives, because we know there is no better story for our lives than his. And we've also learned, as we've been connecting to our Hebrew roots of our faith, we have learned that there is a spiritual law, and that's an effect no matter what. And that you could even call it a life hack, if you will. So it's called Rosh Chodesh. And you've probably heard us talk about it, but it is the law of the first fruits. So that law says that if you give God the first of your something, of your time, of your money, of your energy, right, of all of that, then he blesses that. He blesses the rest. If you do it weekly, we do it monthly, and we do it yearly. So I love that he invites us in to do it all the time. And he really wants to be that connected with you. So we have infused that teaching, that Rosh Chodesh, or that first fruits teaching, into everything and every area of our lives. And we definitely want to do that for this brand new year of 2025. We know that we're already a couple months into 5785 on the Hebrew calendar, but there is something special about the new year. And we love coming together. We love doing this at this time of the year so that we can really make the most of 2025. So we want to invite you tonight. We're going to invest some time to prepare for the beginning of the year, because we want to bring our hearts and our mind into alignment with God's direction, with his inspiration, and with his guidance.
Yeah. So our goal for you basically tonight is we want you to look at and release the weight of 2024. Even if there were a lot of good things in 2024, still it kind of we want to recharge the deck, right? And find peace. We also want to break free from the patterns of self-sabotage that we might experience, those feelings of overwhelm, right? We want to also break through those. And we also want to gain some powerful tools for how to step into God's vision for your life and to experience that with a renewed sense of confidence. I mean, I'm not sure if you've ever felt this, but do you ever feel like maybe I'm playing small? Like that your dreams and desires to make a difference are kind of existing on the back burner. Meanwhile, you're sort of grinding through and surviving your life. And really the question I think all of us should be considering is, what if this next year could be different? What if 2025 was the year that you broke free from the things that are holding you back and stepped boldly into the story that God has been writing for you all along.
Yeah, so this is your invitation to live inspired. That's what our whole message is, inspired life, to live inspired. And so we're so glad that you're here. And we believe that there's a reason that you showed up today. Or if you're watching the replay, there's a reason that God has you seeing this and hearing this, because we believe that He has something incredible for you. Your life has a purpose, it has meaning. And today we're going to talk a little bit about how to process the past, find healing, and boldly embrace God's vision for your future. So we're all about that. If you've been with us for a while, you know, yes, that checks out, as our daughter would say, that is our messaging always. So we want you to stay tuned, stay with us, because we are going to share something very powerful at the end of our presentation tonight that we want you to be a part of, right? So what you're going to discover in this time together probably will go a little less than an hour. But what we want to do is give you some tools and ways that will possibly change your approach as we go into the next year and really the rest of your life, because these are tools that will stay with you. So today it's about you. And it's about God's vision for your life. And so this is your chance to leave behind the weight of 2024 and step into a renewed sense of clarity and alignment. So by the end of this workshop, you will have access to the tools and the inspiration to embrace that. And one of the things that we love is that quote that Saint Ignatius, I always say his name wrong. Irenaeus says that God's heart is man fully alive. And that's what we desire for ourselves. And we're always desiring to take people along that ride with us, to live with our hearts fully alive.
Yeah. So a quick little clip on who we are. We're actually much clearer than this picture would indicate. This picture's a little pixelated, a little blurry, a little fuzzy. We're actually not fuzzy people. We have normal skin just like everyone else. But we are Daniel and Vicki Hagedorn. And if you don't already know us, we created Inspired Life because we really wanted to provide a community where people could thrive. One of the things that we really desire is to see people live in the freedom that Yeshua promises. And we personally have experienced incredible healing in our hearts through the tools of grief recovery, and have also discovered that the lost connection to the Hebrew roots of our Christian faith have really emptied our lives of a lot of its richness and power. There's so much more to the story than what we've experienced. And when we started to do that, we're like, oh my gosh, well, we need to tell everybody the rest of the story, because it's kind of like when you go see a movie that's amazing, you just sort of like, oh my gosh, this movie's incredible, you got to go see it. It's kind of like that, And so as we were going through and healing the wounds that were keeping us stuck, something amazing happened. And we realized that we had a brand new capacity to really embrace God's guidance and to learn even more about him through his calendar and his traditional patterns of time, because it was a process of really living in alignment with his rhythms and stepping out of our own, which was kind of exciting.
Yeah, it's actually really inspiring. So like this little critter here, this is for you. If you sometimes feel stuck in cycles that are frustrating, cycles of self-sabotage, cycles maybe where you feel like you're procrastinating, or things that you want to overcome. If you feel like you've been carrying the weight of unresolved emotions, especially for this past year, if you are craving spiritual clarity, healing, and alignment with God's purpose, sometimes we can feel like, I don't know what God wants me to do right now, this year, next year, but we want to help clarify that for you as you step into the future, as you step into the next year. So if this resonates with you, know that you are not alone. Most of us feel this way. And today we're going to change that. Because if you've been feeling like you're spinning your wheels a little bit, or like you've maybe lost sight of the story that God is calling you into, that he is wooing you and inviting you into, then we want you to know that you're in the right place. And we believe that what we have to share today is unlike anything you've tried before. It's rooted in faith, it's rooted in clarity, and it's going to support you with tools. And those tools are very important to help you break free so that you can embrace, so that you can know.
Yeah. And so our journey, it wasn't that long ago that I kind of felt pretty stuck. I felt pretty trapped in, I guess, what you could call a survival loop. I mean, on the outside, there wasn't anything crazy going on. Things basically seemed fine. But inside, I knew that I wanted more from God than I had. I knew that my life was falling short. And I don't mean like in some abstract way. I mean, like personally, like I really felt like I was falling short of the life that God had for me. I kept looking at the Bible, and I've always believed the Bible is not a book of exceptions. It's a book of, what's possible. And so what followed was a moment of surrender when I stopped trying to kind of muscle through on my own effort, when I stopped relying on my own humanistic wisdom. And I just simply asked God to show me the way forward. And so what followed was really a breakthrough. It was a process that taught me how to let go of the past and then see myself through God's eyes so that I could align my heart with his purpose. And so I don't know where you're at. Maybe you've been there too. Maybe you've wondered why it's so difficult to get past certain patterns. All we want for you is to know that breakthrough is possible. You're not stuck in a doom loop that is inescapable. Breakthrough is absolutely possible. And what we want to share with you today comes from our own journey and the work that God has done in us. In other words, this isn't on trial. We're not talking about, theoretically, this could really work for you. Or, I read in a book somewhere, this might be a really good idea to give it a shot. This is coming out of the stuff that we have done in our own lives. And so even though all of our stories are unique, the breakthrough that we experienced can be yours too. And so if you have ever felt stuck, frustrated, disconnected, you're going to find a lot of comfort in knowing that transformation is a lot closer than you think.
Yeah. And so moving forward, in order to do that, what we need to do is release the burdens of the past year. We really believe, and we learned this from the tools of grief recovery, that in order to move forward unencumbered and really alive, you've got to get complete with what you have experienced. So we have an amazing program where we actually focus on the burdens and the things of the past year. We want to then reframe the limiting beliefs and the survival patterns. They're kind of one and the same. And those are the things that keep us stuck. And then we align our hearts with God's story for us. So we're kind of just reframing, and we're kind of talking about what Dan was talking about, is this process. So these 3 steps have become a lifeline for us, and they're going to guide us today, because it's not about striving harder, trying to fix ourselves. And we want to be the first ones to tell you this today. If you haven't heard this, we are not here to fix you, because you are not broken. So please hear that. We are here to inspire and to provide a safe place for you to feel welcome, and for you to feel like you are able to show up as you are and be completely accepted here. So this isn't about trying to fix anything. It's about making room for God to lead. So imagine walking into 2025 without the weight of unresolved emotions or self-doubt. Because when we have unresolved emotional stuff, it brings self-doubt. It brings lack of, what is the word? Confidence. It brings all of these things because we aren't able to be fully present, because we're trying to figure these things out. So it's so important. So we want to move into the year ourselves and you feeling clear, feeling hopeful, and feeling confident in your next step. So that's what each of these 3 steps can do. Each step is simple, but they are profoundly powerful. Very
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah. There's always the simple but not easy part, right?
Yeah.
Um, right. I mean, it is simple. Like, well, you release the burdens of the past year. Yeah. I mean, that's simple. It's clear, easy. No.
Mm.
And that's because unresolved emotions from the past year, they don't just weigh us down, they actually keep us stuck. And
Yeah.
so they have to be released in order for us to experience peace and freedom. But this is what happens when you do. You will feel lighter, actually, physically, emotionally, spiritually, like a burden has literally been lifted. You'll gain a sense of completion for the year 2024, and you'll be ready to embrace the new year. And
Mhm.
so it's kind of like this. Have you ever felt like you're carrying something heavy, but you can't quite name it? It's like you've got this huge thing in your backpack that you're lugging around everywhere, but you're not actually sure what's in the backpack. That's kind of what emotional weight feels like. And so when you let go of it, it's like taking off that backpack that you've been carrying around for miles and miles and miles, right? And so if you even kind of imagine that for a second, I don't know if you've ever been hiking and you've been hiking for a while and then you kind of take a rest and you take your backpack off. It's like, oh, oh, oh my gosh, that feels amazing. I mean, it's like that. I mean, it's funny. It's like, oh, that just feels so good. Um, and that's really what happens on the other end of being able to release the emotional weight of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. And then that brings us to this second step, which is reframing limiting beliefs and survival patterns that keep us stuck. And this is so important. And why this matters is because the beliefs that we carry about ourselves, about God, about what's possible, these beliefs shape our lives. And when those beliefs are rooted in fear or in a falsehood, in a lie, they hold you back. They hold us back.
Yeah.
And so, what happens when we're able to reframe them is that you'll see yourself and your future through God's eyes, and you'll find courage to step into new opportunities. And you know what? You'll feel prepared to do that. I think that's such a major part of the shift that has happened. I know for me in this past year, I have felt like a huge shift has happened in my ability to be present, and my ability to be consistent has
Mm.
changed incredibly in these last 6 months. Really, it's been really, really powerful. And I remember talking with someone recently, someone that I was working with a client, and it was amazing because she was able to connect and say, wow, I didn't realize how much my own thoughts were working against me.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt like you're your own worst enemy?
Yeah.
Where, I've heard that saying, my mind is like a bad neighborhood. I don't shouldn't go into it alone. It's kind of when you live that way. And we want to help you reframe those beliefs. And when you do, it's like stepping into a completely different world, because when your perspective changes, it's like changing the filter. And when the filter is constantly set to self-limiting thoughts like, I'm not enough, I'm never going to be enough, that's what you're going to experience. You're going to experience those results in all of your interactions in one way or another, starting with yourself, starting with that struggle and that restlessness. So, step 2 is reframing limiting beliefs and
Yeah.
survival patterns.
Which of course brings us to step 3, and that's really aligning with God's vision. And in that, what we want to do is it's like bringing our heart together with God's to embrace the story that He's written for us.
Mhm.
Because what happens is if we're not aligned, then we're just busy, right? We're just busy. We're just spinning our wheels. We get to the end of a week and we're like, oh my gosh, that was exhausting. Oh, it was just so packed. And then somebody asks you, oh, what'd you do? Uh, I Dude, I was so busy though. I was so busy, I mean, but it's hard to even, because it really wasn't, nothing that we did really was that significant or that mattered all that much many times. It's just busyness. And so we
Mhm.
confuse busyness with productivity, and it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. We look at goals, right? And accomplishing goals. That's, but it's not. It's really about having an alignment with God's vision. And when you are aligned with God's vision, what that brings to you is a sense of clarity and peace about your next steps. It doesn't mean that God's going to give you a GPS direction guide to the next, but it does mean you're like, oh, I feel there's a purpose in what I'm doing. I feel there's meaning in what I'm doing. It's
Yeah.
kind of like that moment when in the Karate Kid, when Daniel figures out all of the seemingly pointless activity that he's been doing for like months, and all of the wax on stuff, and all the stuff that he was getting frustrated and angry about because all he wanted to do was learn karate, and actually he was learning it the whole time, right? He was learning muscle memory, and
Right.
so that made it easier. And so this is when we start getting aligned with God, then even when we don't necessarily know what's going on, we trust it and we move into it. And that's really such a powerful posture, because when we're in alignment with God's vision, then we stop striving and we start thriving, right? There's a transformation there. This is where everything starts to come together. It doesn't mean there's no problems. It doesn't mean that life is super easy, but it does mean that we are experiencing a peace with God. And so aligning with his vision, it isn't just about knowing stuff. It's about feeling that inspiration. It's about having a sense of readiness to take action. There was a client of ours that described it as walking into 2025 with a flashlight in the darkness. It's like you don't see everything around you, but at least you can beam on that path and move forward, even though you don't see every little detail going on all around you. But it's a good image to take in. And this is what, the power of alignment does.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are here today to invite you to join us. Consider this your invitation to our Living Inspired Aligning with God's Vision 2025. This is our one-day workshop. We do this every year in January, and it's one of our favorite things. And it's full 4 hours of like a faith-centered coaching, and it goes so fast. It's always like
Yeah.
we started out and it's like, oh my gosh, it's over. It's amazing. So what we do there, we do so much, but it's emotional completion techniques to let go of 2024. We do a whole breakout session and process. It's really giving you a personalized roadmap with the brand new 2025 Inspired Life Guide, which you get when you register and when you join us for the workshop. And what we're adding this year is also a coaching call that we're going to be doing probably about 2 weeks after we do, because we realize there's so much that we do in that it really deserves and needs a follow-up session. So we're going to be actually including that as well. So that is the Inspired Life one-day workshop. So it's got 4 hours. It's like a half day of the coaching. We do a step-by-step method that will help you connect with God's purpose, with God's healing for 2024. There's even a vision alignment process that we're going to do. We've added in quite a few things that we're going to be doing this year. And really this belief reframing, where we want to help you overcome self-sabotage and limiting beliefs. And the 2025 guide, you guys, is amazing. This guy, Dan, has been, I mean, he's reworked the whole thing. So we have added stuff, but he's also even just added for every month there. It goes much deeper. There's so much more information. This guide is designed to be with you for the whole year. It has a lot of great stuff in the beginning, and then every month is in that book with teaching with space to journal, with space to graph the month, all the things that we do in our coaching that has really grown. Like we finally have had a full year of doing this and it's just been amazing. So we are always tweaking and we're always asking people for input so that we can make it as best as we can. So we're all about helping you gain clarity, healing. It's not just another workshop, I promise you. This is an experience and it's designed to equip you with everything you need to thrive in 2025. So we're going to take this time to pause and to reflect and to realign with God's purpose. And this is how we practice bringing our first fruits, our time to intentionally give God our dreams, our hurts, and our vision. So that is going to be so powerful. And we practice this alignment. And what I've learned is in a lot of ways, aligning with God in a Hebrew kind of like translation. I don't know if it's translated exactly, but that means blessings. That means that you're in his blessings. Now, does that mean that, everything's going to work out perfectly? Of course not. But we want to be within his alignment and within his blessings, because otherwise we know we're not going to experience fruit if we plant in the wrong season. So we want to be aware. So we want you to know that you don't have to figure any of this out alone. We want to do it together. This is what we're going to be doing, and we want to invite you to join us and to do this with us. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we want you to just sort of engage in a little thought experiment and just imagine something. Just really think about waking up every day in 2025 and have clarity and confidence. Again, there's no such thing as a problem-free life, but there's a difference when you wake up and you have a sense of clarity and you have a sense of confidence. Like, even when things get in my way, I trust and believe that God is with me to get over them, that God is with me to turn that into training so that I will get further and further along the path that he's laying out for me. But imagine leaving behind old patterns of fear, patterns of self-doubt. Imagine living with a heart that is fully alive and fully engaged, that's activated by God's inspiration and vision for your life. Imagine waking up every day in 2025 with a sense of freedom, with a deep sense of joy, with the peace that comes from living in alignment with God's plan. This is what's waiting for you on the other side of this journey. And this is exactly what we are inviting you into.
So this is your moment. This moment is now. And we're really excited to offer this workshop at a very special price of $97. This includes the workbook and it includes the follow-up coaching as well. And that is the we say the 2024 price, because it is going to increase. So that is the early bird registration, if you will, and it will increase after January 1. It's going to increase to $147. Still an amazing deal for everything that this is. And we really want to invite the first 20 registrants. The first 20 people that register are going to be part of that coaching call that we talked about. We wanted to cap it off at 20 so that we didn't get it too big, so we can really give everybody the time that's needed and that's important. So we want you to register as soon as you can to hold your spot for the workshop and to get into that bonus session, which is going to be really great. I'm excited for it.
So this is a 4-hour workshop that will be a lot like getting 4 weeks or maybe even more of coaching, but in 4 hours.
Yeah.
I don't know of anything out there that combines the emotional healing and the foundational tools of grief recovery, along with the incredible teachings of alignment with the Hebrew roots, and the way that God really guides us into his blessings. We bring in the latest information on neuroscience. We talk about the power of breaking free from patterns and thinking, years of habits. We talk about breaking lies off of your life and embracing the truth to experience exponential growth and results. And we don't want you to spend thousands of dollars on books or programs or coaching for emotional healing. We don't want you to spend hours of trial and error, stuck in cycles of frustration, and then losing another year to having, well, not the peace that you want, not the clarity you want, and certainly not the alignment that you've been looking for.
Right.
And that's really where the value is. What is the value of experiencing a year, 2025, with a sense of clarity and healing and alignment that you haven't had before? So we really want to encourage you. This is your moment. God is calling you into something bigger. And we just encourage you not to wait. We encourage you, in fact, to just step into his vision for your life and make 2025 your most inspired year yet.
Yes, it's time to do something great, and we want to do that with you. So this is just kind of that recap. This is everything that we're offering, everything that you're going to get. And that's the half-day coaching. It's the 2025 Inspired Life Guide, which will be $47. And you can get that. We will put a link. You can get that. But if you register and you join us, you will get that included. The post-workshop group coaching call and the tools that we give you and the techniques for alignment that we have in our back pocket, so to speak, they're priceless. And all of these things, if you valued them all together with all the value that they have, it comes out to being $750. And that's even low when you think of these tools and techniques that you will have for life. This is something that you get and you get to experience, and then you get to practice it. You get to really have that be in your daily life. And so when you add it all up, the value is undeniable. And the best part is you won't pay anywhere near $750. We are so happy to offer you guys this price of $97. We think that it's going to be a game changer for you.
Yeah. And so a good thing to think about as you're really deciding what you want to do is if all this did was, so we'll play a little game called If All This Did Was.
Yeah.
If all this did was help you break free from self-sabotage, would it be worth it? If all this did was give you clarity and purpose as you enter 2025, would it be worth it? If all this did was renew your faith and inspire your heart, would it be worth it? If all this did was surround you with incredible spiritual-minded people who are eager for growth and transformation in their own lives and who are eager to encourage you in your own path, wouldn't it be worth it? If all this workshop did was just give you one breakthrough, if it just helped you get one step closer to God's vision for your life, it would be worth every penny that you invested in yourself.
Absolutely. Yes. So we know that you were made for more, and we all were. We all were made for more. So the workshop is going to be January 11th, Saturday, January 11th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. I should have put a slide in here with that information, but I forgot. So we're telling you, if you go to the link that we will have in the description down below or in the comments here, it's in inspiredlifemovement.com/one-day workshop, all spelled out. That is the link, but I will put it in. It has all the information there. Yes, it will be on Zoom. We will be meeting. We have great breakout sessions in there, but that's the date is Saturday, January 11th, 1/11/25. And so we want to walk alongside you. We want to encourage you to take the leap, trust God's vision for your life. We know that there is transformation here. We know that we get to experience transformation. And what I love about God and his season and his timings is his seasons are the same. So there's what do you call that? Like there's a familiarity, there's a comfort in knowing that we're always going to have those. The spring is going to come, winter is going to come. we get to dress in our winter clothes and all those things. But there's something really amazing because every year we grow and we change and we evolve. And so we experience them in an entirely different way. So
Yeah.
we really want that. And we know that God has incredible things in store for all of us. And this is our chance to align with that and to do this together. This is going to be, I believe, our fourth one-day
Yeah.
workshop.
Our
And
fourth.
they have grown incredibly every year. And it's just been an incredible honor to experience the breakthroughs and to start off the year. And we have so much that we are planning for this year's session. And I know that last year I was like, maybe we should add an hour
I
because
know.
so
It did
fast.
seem like it probably might be a good idea.
It does. It goes so fast. So we really want to invite you to join us and spend the whole year with us. We do monthly alignment calls. We do all kinds of things that we'll talk more about when we all get together. But we are so excited to spend that time with you, experience God's guidance in a special, even deeper and a more profound way. So we know that this is going to be powerful. So it's January 11th, 2025 from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central Time on Zoom. So when you register, you'll get an email with all the information. And that that page that link takes you to gives you all the info as well. And that is really what we have for tonight. If you have any questions, you can type it in here in the chat. Thank you, Stephanie, for that question about the time and the date. And you can also reach out to us. You can DM us on Facebook. You can DM us on Instagram. And you can always reach us by email at freedomfromgrief@gmail.com.
Yep.
So we're super excited. This is going to be great.
Yeah, it's always a lot of fun. It really is. It's just it's good to get into the new year and have just a fresh sense of hope and dreams and inspiration and really, yeah, kind of like leave the previous year behind, because it is over. Even if it was good, it's over, and you want to look ahead and look into all the possibilities of the new year. So
yeah,
it's exciting.
That's very well said. Yeah, when you get emotionally complete with something, and the first 27 pages of the workbook is all of what we do before we meet. So there is homework to prepare you for that. That's another reason to register right away, because we want to get the book to you. As soon as you register, you will get the digital guide sent to your inbox. So you will have it on digital, but there's something about having that in your hand, writing in it is meant to be your companion throughout the year. And so we go through those first 27 pages, and it's really a great way to look at your last year and what we call getting emotionally complete with that. And then there's space that we're going to look forward to the new year. And one of the things that I love, one of my favorite parts, is that we think about a word for the year that God puts on your heart, and
or phrase or scripture.
Yes, it could be a phrase or a scripture. For me, it's always been a word. Actually, my word for this last year was sort of like two words. My word for this last year was dominion rest. And that turned into
phrase.
Yeah. Yes, this was my year. And because I have such a mind to be busy and to do and to go and accomplish, right? And I've been really embracing this idea of Sabbath rest. And I love it, actually.
Yeah.
Sabbath earlier and earlier on Fridays and goes to Saturday. But what I really wanted to understand more is what dominion rest is, and that is being at peace with God in your work, in your calling, in what he's calling you to do. And I love this because we talk about our word for the year. And then one of the things that we do in our breakout session is we talk about what our word was for last year and how God showed up in that, what he taught us about that, how that became, how the understanding of that got deeper. And I feel like God has used that word for me. We've been doing that for, I think, the last 6 years. And every word has gone on to mean something really, really special for me. and has deepened my experience with God in a profound way. So that's one of the things that we do, is we really talk about that. And there's lots of stuff. So we will be sharing over the next couple weeks as we prepare for January 11th. We're super excited. And I think that that is all that we have for tonight. Is there
That is
anything
all that we have.
to
Yeah.
add, Dan? Is there anything you wanted to add?
No, I think it has been said. And but we always just enjoy spending some time with you guys, and we really hope that you'll join us. And we look forward to seeing you on our one-day workshop.
So until then, have a beautiful night.
Shalom.
Shalom, everybody.